Okay, so welcome back. So in the first video, we look at lesson one A, and we're able to look at some part of lesson one B as well. We'll continue lesson one B from here we stop lesson one B. So we just have to start from lesson one B. You just have to start from the beginning. Okay, so we're gonna look at this topic now: install and configure motherboards. Install and configure a motherboard. Okay, so here we are. So in our previous video, we talk about this. We were able to explain this. I explained this, the motherboard functions. Okay, so I'm going to explain again now. So let's listen. Okay, so the motherboard itself. In our previous video, I told you what the motherboard is, right? So I said the motherboard is the most important part of the computer system. You know that houses other components. You know, it gives provision for other of your computer components, other devices to be fixed, connected to. So the motherboard is a combination of electronic devices. So we actually call it IC. You know, IC means integrated circuit. So they are all combination of electrical devices coming together. So in the motherboard, you could have several electrical components that all connect together to ensure that the computer works very well. So all those components you can find in motherboards is the hard drive itself, your sound cards, you know, your network cards, all these are components. Your VGA, your VGA cards, all these are components you can find in the motherboard. There's a lot of components. The processor itself, all of them. Now, in terms of A plus, when we talk about the computer system itself, there are some there's some important devices that we have to take note of. Now, one of them is the processor, which we call the CPU, the central processing processor. Now, the processor is the brain behind the computer system. Now, without the processor, we can't do most of what we do. So, the processor actually does the processing, does the calculations. The processor itself, we have what we call the control unit. In the processor, we have what we call the control unit inside the processor. The control is what controls the inflows and outflows of information that comes to the system, comes to the computer system. Then also in the processor to also have what we call the AAU. So we call it the arithmetic through logical operations. So whenever you make a calculation, each time you send a calculation, each time that be mathematical calculation, each time something has to be done mathematically. So each time that be like arithmetic calculation, each time the calculation will take place. So it's the AAU that does that. You know, the ALU rather does that ALU. So it's called the arithmetic and logical operation. So when you have to do with calculations, anything has to do with maths, logical reasoning like or, if, and, or, all these logical operations they take place inside the processor in the part called the ALU. So also we also have the memory too, the memory, so which is called the RAM. Very important part of the system. So what they do, the memory, they store information temporarily. So the memory store temporarily. So what we call a random access memory. It store information temporarily. So one at a time when you work on this, when you work on the computer system, the work that you have been done, that's stored in the RAM temporarily. They go to the RAM, they are there temporarily. Lots of times when you work and you don't save your job, the work is gone because why? Those information are stored in the RAM. So the RAMs, we store them, but read access memory. So their information are stored there, not permanently, but temporarily, right? So from the RAM, information can be accessed by if you can from the RAM information. You can see what is there now. For the RAM, the information can go back to the processor for permanent storage for processing, and of course also you can come to what the hard drive. So in the hard drive, that's where we have a permanent storage. So when you save your job, you don't save to the RAM, you save to your mass storage of the hard drive. This is the hard drive. So we call it the storage devices. When you save, it goes to the storage devices. That's the hard drive. Now, now let's go up again now. Now, you can retrieve information from the hard drive when you work on computer system. You do a previous you work on the previous day and you come on the next day. You want to access your files. You work with it. What you have to do is to go back to the system. You have to retrieve the file. You open your file. When you open it, you get the information from what from the hard drive. As soon as the file is open, the information becomes what open, accessible by the RAM. So the information in the file is open now. For instance, now you open the file is a Microsoft Word file. And you open the file, so the file is in Word. The moment you open the file, because of the read access memory. So it's from the RAM. The file, at that time the file is on the RAM. So whatever I do that time, don't store it, you're gonna lose it. So you have to store your work. Now, by the time you finish, by the time you're working, you're working and you do some certain changes. So what happened that the CPU, we call it central processing unit, is one that's helping to what trigger info to make those changes for you. Like process what do you want, you want to do calculations, the CPU that help you to do those things. Say for instance now, you are doing some mathematical operations on your work, maybe you try to multiply 5 times 5. So what does it now is central processing that does it through the help of what the ALU, the arithmetic to logical unit. They help to do that. Now, on that same aspect now, there's what we call the cache. In the processor, they will call the cache. Look at the cache here. We call it the cache. Now, the cache is just like your memory too. So they store information temporarily, but this time the memory is inside the processor. So now the processor has its own memory. So that mob called a cache. So that means the processor also have its own temporary storage where they store information called cache. So the information inside the processor they are stored in cache for temporary storage. So the processor itself is also a memory that stores information too. Right? Okay. So now we also talk about this one yesterday, removal storage. So your removal storage, oh, I'm sorry, we talked about this in our previous class, right? So we talked about this one in our previous class, right? So now for this now, we said this one, it said is a removal storage. Your removal storage will be a CD. So back then in the days, we have what called the CD-ROM drive, the CD. So our computer case has a CD-ROM where we can put storage inside. You can install files, you can install program using that, right? So but now it's obsolete now because nobody carries this. That Oppo carry now is what USB device and external hard drive. So this hard drive you could have a smaller one, external hard drive, small one, smaller external hard drive. You could just with a USB connect to what the computer system. When you connect to it, that become what a removable storage. When you finish working, you can save and take it out. Similarly, the same thing our USB device do too. USB storage device also the same thing. So you have a flash drive. All these are part of what external storage too, right? So you can save information and you can go. Okay, so in a nutshell, this is just the full explanation for what the motherboard function, just a summary of the most essential part of the motherboard, which is the memory, the processor, the hard drive, and the cache. We explain that, So all these things you see, all these components that inside is the CPU box, this box that you see, they are inside the box. This is just a monitor. The monitor does not do anything that will display big graphics, video. It just give us display so we can see. That what monitor does. Doesn't do any other thing. Just to give you display, right? Excellent. Okay, so very important. The processor they have sizes. What you call size, not speeds. So processors are not the same. So there's some processors are faster than the others. Some are very fast. Some are very slow. Some are like 2 times faster. Some are 3 times faster. So depending on the speed, we call it clock speed and frequency, which they operate. So if you have a good processor, which means you can do a lot of processing work, you can have a large files, you can have a large application, you can do multimedia work, you can do video games and on and on. You can do So many things you could do if you have a good processor. So the clock speed or the processor tells how faster the processing will look like, how faster your computer is going to work. Okay, so that's that, right? So good. Now we also have called the electrostatic and ESD, which is called electrostatic discharge. So in explaining this now, we can understand that in our previous video, I was explaining and I was telling about our hands, right? So this our hands, you see, don't be surprised. They carry what electronic signal. They have voltage. They carry current too, just like your normal electricity. So you might be surprised, yes. So for you to be able to work with your computer, like say you're trying to build a motherboard, the computer system. So you buy your computer, you want to build them. Apparently, you notice your computer was not coming up, and you want to open the computer, you want to dismantle it. By the time you open your box, the CPU box, if you open it, before you start touching this component, the first thing you should do is to discharge your hands. So just put your hands on. By the time you open, put your hands on the chassis inside the motherboard. Just put your hand on not inside the motherboard. In the case, put your hand inside and rub your hand on the metal so that you can discharge your electronic signal. If you don't do that, right? If you don't do that, what is going to happen is that your hand that carries voltage might just cause you what it damage on your chips because the motherboard that has chips which I explained earlier, integrated circuit that combine together. So all of them has voltage. So your hand, put your hand, they can just bridge it, and that might just contain your motherboard. So that's why you have to always discharge your hands, right? So also too, electrical safety. For electrical safety too, is the best thing for you to do. At times there can be power surge, right? So the best thing for us to always do is to ensure that what we can always disconnect our power when we're not working on the computer. Now take a look at this. Now this what you have here now. This is one of the way to avoid power surge, you know, electronic safety too. So something like this can connect it to your. It's also, I mean, these days we barely see it, but it still happen, right? So if you want to see something like this now, you can connect to your motherboard. You can just connect not the motherboard, the panel, the case of your computer, maybe a laptop, an iPad. Just put it there, so that in case of the power surge and electronic static discharge, it also help you to do that as well. Okay, here we go now. So we've been talking about the motherboard, right? This is the motherboard now. You see, this is the motherboard. This is how the motherboard is. So when you open the computer system, you want to see the motherboard like this. So all these are what I was explaining to you in our previous class. I was telling you about the onboard devices. See, all these are onboard. I said onboard are devices that they come with the motherboard. They come with it. They are onboard, they are built with it. We call them onboard. You can see them. So here we have input and output. You have USB. See, all of them now combined together. We call it front. Look at it. All of them here. So you have input ports, USB, video, audio, etc. So they all have all these functions now, right? So all these are onboard devices. Onboard. So you have sound, you have USB, you have VJ, you have so many things, gaming, and on and on. They're called the onboard because they are built on the motherboard, right? Now this is called the CPU word, the CPU socket. Now this place is where we connect our processor. It has polarity. Polarity is a manner which you connect. So if you have a processor, you have to look at it very well. When you look at it, then you can be able to it has a way to connect it. So if you connect it in the other way side, if you connect it in the other way around, what happens? You might just spoil the processor. So the best thing to do, if you don't know how to do that, right? Just follow the simple way. Don't force anything. If you don't know what to do, don't try to force anything. Just go gently. Doesn't work, just take it out. And try the other way around. Try try the other way around. Doesn't go, take it out. Don't force anything, right? Then the next thing that we have the memory slot. These are the memory slots. These are all connecting memories, right? So the same with the memories they have demarcation too. See, here now we have look at it here. You have like a demarcation there in the middle. So what happens if you get to memory, you have to look at the memory. So there's some memory we call them as DIMMs, right? So those DIMMs are latest memory now, right? We have DIMM 1, DIMM 2, DIMM 4. on like that. So those memory, they have their demarcation. So when you want to connect the memory, you have to look at the part that is demarcated. Look at it very well. The side that is shorter, they can put it on this side because this side is shorter, while the longer side can go this way. That's how you fix your memory. When you're putting it, again, not force anything, just put it on it. If it's inside, then you can just press to clip. Just put it inside, just press to clip. That's it. Then of course we also have this drive connector. So this place now, there are some connectors on the motherboard where you can connect your hard drives. Right? So the hard drive itself, I explained it. I explained in our previous slides. If you are using a SATA cable, and of course you also have to ensure that the SATA cable goes to the motherboard and also goes to what, the hard drive. So these are the connectors on the motherboard where you can connect to this place where you can connect your SATA cable from here. Then you also have to put what, your hard drive on the case. Good. Okay. So here now we call adapter card slots. So all these are slots. See, take a look. All these are all slots. Slots. See, they are slots. So it's another way for us to have additional sound card, additional network card, additional graphics card, VGA card. Now it means that if all this onboard you have there, if none of them is not working, if none of them is not working, this sound, none of them is working, VGA is not working, networking is not working, the onboard are not working. So what means that you can get a card for it. Just go to the computer store. If your sound, maybe your sound is not loud enough, you cannot buy higher sound. Maybe you have a video, your computer is not giving good display. You can buy a graphics card, video graphics card. Just go there and request for an I one. Maybe you want an I one that can do video editing, video conferencing, all those big things, gaming and the rest. You just go there, get a video card, a display card that can give you good graphics. So when you buy it, you open the system and this is how you connect them. Right? Okay, good. So don't worry on the exam. If you're going to write your A plus exam on the exam day, you're not you on the exam day you're not going to be asked to be what, fixing all this motherboard. You don't have to do. You understand? Hey, just know what the motherboard is, know what the processor is, know what the memory is. Then know the graphics card, the onboard, know all those things. All of it. Just know them. When you know them, in case of each of them has faults, you know the function of what you want to do, right? So that one you just need to know. Assuming for instance that your onboard, one of your the onboard is not working, or you need to get a higher graphics card, right? If you have that kind of question in your exam, what do you do? You just have to buy an extension card. You buy an extension card and insert it inside, right? So those are the kind of questions you see in your exam. Okay, so let's continue. Good. Now, so SATA. So we have SATA motherboard storage connector. So we have SATA. So I told you what SATA is earlier, right? Okay. So SATA, they are hard drives, right? SATA, they are hard drives. You know, so, they are hard drives. So it provides provision for you to connect hard drives. So you just ensure that, like what we see here now, see. So you give you position and connect hard drive. They look like memory, but they're not memory, right? So they look like actually just use a SATA. So we explained it earlier. We can go back to our previous video. So for us, let's see, go back to the previous slide. And we can see, good. So this is SATA here now, right? Serial Advanced Technology Attachment, right? So the SATA is just we have the external SATA. We explained, these are previous video. We explained this earlier. So SATA hard drive cables, all these are the cables, right? So we can go on again and look at our explanation of SATA. Yeah, there we are now. So these are all external SATA. Okay, good. Then we have the PCI and PCI. We have PCI and so the PCI and PCIe. So all these are PCI, PCI. All these are the card we explain. PCI slot, PCI slot. All these are card. But the difference is that some of them are shorter. See, this one is called PCI slot 16. This very one now. It's called PCI slot 16. So depending on the card, so how big the card is and the size of the card and the function they can do. We also have this one too. This is what is called XPCI slot. This is called PCI slot 8. So this one depend on the pin on them, right? So similar with this one you call one times PCI slot one, then this called PCI slot. So you take a look at this PCI slot and all the PCI, you find that this one has demarcation at the end of this place. So call this one, when you say a card that has, it's called a PCI slot. Then of course, most times our motherboard now is come like this. Back then, our motherboard used to be our PCI, our card used to come in this function. Our motherboard used to be like this, but now this one PCI become obsolete. We have what we call the PCI slots now, more often now. I will have now. Right? Okay. So um let's go on. Okay, motherboards. Motherboards. So the motherboard has the power itself, right? The motherboard has power supply. The motherboard has its own power supply. So the motherboard has the power supply. Hmm? Okay, so if you take a look at this motherboard now, you notice that this is the power supply here. This is the power supply. Hmm? So in the power supply here, we notice there are cables that goes in. So these cables, if you take a look now, take a look. All these are, if you see these on, these are buttons, right? In a real scenario, this motherboard, right? This power must supply power to this motherboard and supply power. You can see it's supplying power to all these purified devices. All these are hard drives. This is hard drive there now, and there is another drive here. So it could be two hard drives and a CD-ROM drive. So these are hard drives. So you can see this power has power supply to this hard drive, right? But on the motherboard, there's no power supply. So what happened is that the motherboard must be able to connect to what give power supply to. So the power supply should be able to connect to the motherboard. If not, the motherboard is not going to function. So that would be power supply. And again, the power supply, there are different types, right? We have the advanced electronic extended, which is ATX. So ATX. So the ATX power supply, they are more like a full size and micro ATX power supply. It's more like um the most advanced one, right? That we can talk about now. Then of course we also have the mini ITX. This is called the ITX. We call the mini ITX extended one of power supply. But the most power supply that you can see is the ATX power supply. That's the most power supply we see. Called the ATX power supply. So it's the one that we always use most often. So it has like two power supply like this to the motherboard. So this is one of them, right? It supplies power to this place, and I think another connector at the back of it too. So this one, yes, here, look at it. This is one connector here, power supply here, and another one. So it has two positions for the power supply. Okay. Okay, so we were talking about this one earlier. All these are pins. See, all these are pins. All these are pins. Look at them pins. Take a look. Front panel headers. So if you take a look, if we go back again now, let's go back again to some of our previous slides. So we can take a look. We want to talk about casing. We can take a look at some few things there. So we can explain some things to you. You will understand. Good. So here we have now good. See, all these are front panel. All these are casing front panel. This one, look at it, front input and output, audio and USB. All this one you see, right? All this one you see, all this panel, all this one you see, they must be connected to the motherboard. All this one you see, they must be connected to the motherboard, right? So where they are connected to the motherboard is what we see now. Those are what we see now. These are the pins that we are seeing here. So those are front panel. This is where they are connected to the motherboard. They are connected to this one on the motherboard. Yes, look at them. So these are the pins. So the front panel headers, these are pins where they are connected to. So the good thing is that for audio, if you look at your front audio on your motherboard, your casing, the front audio, right? So the pins are there. You just put it on this one. So it's very easy for you to do, right? Now, the motherboard come with cable wires. The wires has colors. So if you see that The audio is red color, right? So this place will be red for you. This pin that will be red, just put it there. This one might be blue, put it there. So they have colors that will just make it easier for you to identify them. So you just put it, all right? So all these are pins. Some pins have other functions, so fan and the red, but you just have to see the colors, follow the colors, and be able to get it done. Good. Okay, so this is there. This is there now. Uh, graphics cables, right? Graphics video card. So GPU is called graphic processing unit, right? So video card are displayed. These are like when you go and see a movie, right? What makes you see a movie is the display that you see, right? Similar to now, if you're on the computer system, what are you saying is the display, is the graphics, is controlled by this graphics processor unit. So if you want a fantastic display, you want a very good display, good video, good auditing, powerful display, good resolution, you want the colors to be very sharp. It depends on what the size of the graphics processing you are doing or you are using. All right? Depends on that type. So we can call it graphics video card. Graphics video card, you can call it like that. You can buy a 3D one too, a 3D graphics card too, right? So you buy it and you insert it on the motherboard. Again, why do we call them the graphics card? They also have their own inbuilt memory too. They have their fan. If you look at it, it has its own fan too, like the processor. It has its own inbuilt memory. That's why they're faster than a normal graphics card. So typically, your motherboard itself, our motherboard has its own graphics card that come with it. Every motherboard has its own graphics that come with it. Like when you buy a computer, so you don't go and buy card. It comes with its own graphics. We call it onboard. We call it onboard, right? Okay. Okay, so that's like it is typically. So it's called onboard. So this is the graphics card. So the graphics card, like I said, it has different sizes and the speed and what they want to do. So if you want a higher resolution, you have to go and get what a higher graphics card, a higher display card, right? So if you take a look now, look at it. So the display card also have your HDMI card, so HDMI ports. Look at ports. We have DVI for projector, DVI port too. You see, look at them. It has USB, look USB too. So it's very it does a lot of things. So it's very dependable and it has features that you could use it for. So that is for the GPU graphic processing. So if you've known about it before, just look the video card. We have the one that comes with the computer system, which is on board. And like you said, if you feel that the display is not okay for you, want the higher display, you want the fantastic the color, video, good graphics, good resolution, good pictures, then you can go and get the graphics card, right? You buy and you can slot it on your computer system. Okay. So similar to SAN, so we also have SAN card too. So we have the onboard SAN. So all here we have the SAN that goes in. Look at SAN in. So the cable, the SAN as see this one goes in. Then of course SAN that comes that mic, audio, all these are SAN cables. See, this is also SAN card too. Similarly too, just like to explain the graphics card, the video card. So the same thing with the SAN card. So if you want a better SAN, so the motherboard has its own onboard SAN that come with the computer. When you buy a computer, it has its own sound that is inbuilt. So if the sound is not okay, depending on what you are doing, if you are doing a good sound, a good speaker, then you have to go and get the sound card. All right. So the same you can buy it from the computer store, good headset and everything, and you can be able to use that. So of course we also have external audio interface too. Those are external ones you can just use. Hmm? Okay, so I'm making some progress. We have network card, right? Network card and Wi-Fi adapter. So network card, we call it network interface card, right? This is actually called onboard internet networking. So we have network card. So if you have networking, computer networking, okay, let's take it easy like this. The internet. So why do you think everybody has the internet? How do you have access to the internet?